You also mentioned that you are hiring a lead designer. So has that search ended or it's still in continuing?
We actually have a pretty strong pipeline of candidates. We're still going through the process.
What do you look for in a candidate? Let's distribute them in, let's say, hard skills, soft skills, culture fitness, right? If you could tell me specific points that you look for.
Typically, a lead designer is
That's
still
not.
core IC, something that was unique to this specific job description and role. And it's not the norm in the industry. We want to introduce actually managing a small team of designers for this level. And that's specific to the org because the other functions in the organization also have this level of hierarchy. We wanted to sort of be at par with the other functions as well. We evaluate based on competency. So we're looking for some mentoring experience, being mentored more junior designers or interns in the team. There are multiple rounds where we evaluate their ability to maybe give feedback to junior designers. How do they communicate with senior stakeholders? Those are sort of cues that we look for in terms of people skills.
It seems like this part of conversation, right? These light cues, these are something that has been that are always evaluated for a role like a lead designer.
Yeah.
But these are the things that have never been talked about.
Yes.
Right. So just out of curiosity, like I wanted to know at what stages, at what rounds things are being evaluated. Right.
So in the first round, which is the next flow call, the hiring manager, they try to cover a number of things. They talk about one project at a very high level, which showcases their expertise, technical expertise, ability to influence. Are they able to think long-term, demonstrate systems thinking? They ask some behavioral questions, getting into the people management part. How have you given feedback? How have you taken feedback from someone who's more senior? They should be comfortable talking about their weaknesses, their strengths. What else? Yeah, and like I mentioned before, speak to some experience having mentored junior designers, either within the org or something that they do as an activity outside of work. The second round is all about the portfolio. Ideally, we ask the candidate to prepare like 1 or 2 projects, but really we just have time for one project so that we ask a lot of questions. We go deep into the problem and their understanding of the users. And of course, there's the craft, the actual craft, storytelling capabilities. They take questions from us. So do they sound defensive or are they able to take that feedback on the go? Are they able to answer the questions? Are they able to show that humility, or curiosity in exploring what the right answer was?
No, that makes sense. So one thing that you also mentioned was business impact. Across all these years, it has been established that whether you're a junior designer or like a design manager, you need to have impact as something in your portfolio, especially when you're presenting your work to a team. If you're interviewing for a lead role, what would be the, let's say, depth of impact that you're looking from a lead interviewer versus a senior interviewer?
At least from like the candidates that we've seen, impact-wise, there's not much of a difference. I think what we're really looking for, what really differentiates an SPD and an LPD candidate, the LPD's work, we're expecting to have obviously higher complexity. They should be able to demonstrate how did they go about their execution strategy? Were they able to phase it out? Why did they prioritize solving maybe 1 or 2 problems over the rest? How were they thinking of it long term? Was there a vision they came up with? Are they able to connect the dots, think of the entire business and not just their specific vertical?
People who come from startup might not have all these things, right? But that does not mean they are not eligible for the role.
Yeah,
it could be the chance that
that's a fair question. Again, I think this purely comes with experience. You will be able to distinguish between someone who may not have had the experience, but has something about them that you feel is coachable. And that's, a risk that we can take.
Yeah, and I would assume you would still take a test of whether your intuition would be right or not. When does that happen?
Portfolio round, there's problem solving round. So that's another area where we get into the what we call the technical expertise, being problem first and user first. These are like 2 mantras, very important for us for both product and design as well. And there's one culture fit round, which there I cover more of the people aspects, communication. And we ask for like very specific examples. Give me an instance or a more recent example of when you had to share constructive feedback or feedback with a more junior designer. Say you heard from a senior stakeholder that something wasn't working out, progress wasn't being made. How did you communicate that with the junior designer? I talk about what are their reasons for wanting to join the organization. So it's something that's very important to us. It can't be, I'm just looking to relocate or I'm looking for a change.
Why is that important for someone to have a strong reason to join your
Because it gives me a sense of how invested the person is going to be. Are they just going to hop around or are they in this for the long term? Because hiring at these levels is very difficult. So when we want to hire someone, we want to hire someone for a long tenure. We want them to stay in the company, grow within the company. They need to have like solid reasons for wanting to join the company. Yeah.
Like in your like experience so far for this specific lead designer candidate, what are like common reasons due to which a candidate is rejected? Let's say most common and like some lesser common reasons.
I think common reason by far, and we saw this in when trying to hire any sort of senior designer, it's their understanding of the problem, their understanding of the users who they were building for. That's where most designers, they're not able to get into that level of detail. Another common reason is communication and influence. It's a skill set that's very important for this level, especially because they're not just going to be managing designers, they're going to be obviously responsible for the junior designers, but they will also be giving their manager a lot of
Mhm.
leverage in these very key strategic areas. So
Okay.
they should be able to have stakeholder conversations,
Mhm.
very senior product leaders, engineering leaders, business leaders.
Mhm.
They should be able to push back, ask the right questions. They should be able to help defining the roadmap.
Right.
So all of this requires very strong communication skills.
Mhm.
That's the reason like a lot of designers, they're not quite there yet. And I
Mhm.
always tell designers who are in this phase,
Mhm.
anywhere from 4 years to even 9 to 10 years, do not hurry to climb up the ladder. There is
Mhm.
so much of learning that is required during this time. You can grow laterally. You can try at different domains.
Mhm.
Even within the same organization, there's so many other sort of business verticals. You should be open to that, I feel. Um, you may be super strong in one area and you have proven impact and your expertise in one sort of area. But if you're there for too long, you sort of get stagnant. So you should be able to not replicate, but you should be able to adapt to maybe another team that moves much faster, where you do not have the luxury of doing research or you have to ship every other day, different environment. When a designer is able to cover those sort of different environments, even within the same organization, I think
Mhm.
that's where you gain this experience of knowing how
Got it.
with different types of stakeholders, different kinds of leadership,
Mhm.
themselves facing different kinds of pressures.
Uh, I've heard there's a difference between responsibility and the role,
Mm.
right? If you show responsibility for long enough, you will automatically get the role,
Yes. Yes.
right?
That's actually how I transitioned into a lead role when I was at Intuit, where I started off with one complex charter as a senior designer. And I organically sort of expanded into looking at other charters as well. I didn't work on them hands on, but I started mentoring designers who were working in these other sort of verticals. And
Right.
eventually I became that lead designer. I was not doing the hands on work, but I was involved in every review. I had that sort of overview of the entire product.
Right.
That was my real transition for me.
That's interesting. Oh, that's good to hear. And then, okay, so how do I then know if I'm ready to take the role?
I think one basic sort of milestone, if you have to put it that way, are you able to start thinking of the entire ecosystem, just beyond your immediate scope or your immediate charter? Not just your area, your feature. You have to move out of that and think of the entire product. How does what you're working on impact other areas? So if you're able to join the dots, which is very key for every designer, regardless of the level, it's a
A
milestone.
milestone. So let me give you now two situations. There is a designer in your team who thinks that they have completed this milestone, right? They come to you to make the transition to an LPD.
Mm.
You found out that the hard skills are in place, but
Mm.
there are some soft skills that are lacking, or it might be opposite, right? How would you groom this individual into getting that promotion?
Yeah, great question. Um, so obviously, I would be looking at the impact that they have achieved in their specific area, and it has to be a fairly complex charter. The other important thing to look out for is, are they able to consistently deliver impact?
Mm.
And again, it's not just related to impact, but like for me personally, when I think someone's ready for promotion, again, regardless of the level, it would be good to see them consistently being good or ready for the next level for like at least 6 months. It's
Okay.
not spikes. You know
Okay.
that they're being consistently good. And so that gives you more confidence that they're ready for the next level.
Mhm.
So impact is one thing, consistently showing impact in all their projects in their charter. Are they showing signs of, have they been mentoring other junior designers in,
Okay.
in the same team who are also doing well because of their coaching or their influence? How is this person contributing to the larger culture of the team or any sort of org building activities? How are they enhancing the skill sets of other functions? Something that makes them a more holistic designer or design leader. We look out for those things as well. And have they been like
Okay.
consistently contributing in those or leading or driving some of those initiatives as well? It could be
Mm.
the form of, I don't know, maybe a design system that they're revamping or enabling better research skills with other teams or other employees in the organization, driving maybe more moonshot ideas, anything that contributes like outside their immediate sort of scope of work.
All right. What about the same situation, but this designer is now approaching you who does not work in your current company? It's someone outside, let's say from ADP list or a LinkedIn
Okay.
message. I want to transition from senior to lead roles. It's
Yeah.
not happening. I'm always getting rejected.
Yeah.
Here's my portfolio. Could you help me make this transition?
Mm.
You evaluated my portfolio. Your hard skills are fine. How would you evaluate that soft skills is an issue? And then once you have identified that, then how would you groom them provided you have time? Right?
It depends on where the gaps are. Again, soft skills, it becomes a little tricky, right? Like communication and influence. I would ask them to work with their manager or someone they look up to as a mentor, if that's not me. Ideally, someone in their workplace. So I would encourage them to work with their manager or mentor, or anyone senior.
Mhm.
If there's an opportunity in another charter, maybe you could allocate maybe 20% of your bandwidth to work in a completely different product. Maybe that could be an area or a project that you could practice these other skills or competencies you're lacking in.
What is storytelling for you? What does that mean?
Very simply put, it is knowing the audience, how much to tell them, given the time that you have with them, and being able to effectively land your idea, pitch, case study, message, whatever, right? To
Yeah.
very simply put it, that's how I describe it. Not everyone at every level needs to know everything, right?
Mm.
What you would communicate to a C-suite level team is very different from what you would communicate to maybe your immediate product manager. You need to know what to communicate and how to communicate.
Right.
What is the feedback you're looking for, or what is it? How you plan to use their time? Is it alignment? Is it decisions that need to be made? Is it
Mm.
inputs you need? Like people
Mm.
think that just by talking a lot, you're able to land a point. That's not necessarily the case.
Right.
Um,
True that.
yeah.
Thank you for saying that. Good. All right, then I think I don't have any other questions. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.